What is up, guys? It's your boy Classified back at it again with another video, and this time I decided to do something differently. I'm gonna try doing a live commentary into a match, and what better way to start it off with one of my favorite things from back in the day, the Cobra King Sherman Jumbo. It's a premium tank sitting at 5.3 currently, and I used to play the shit out of it back when it was 4.7 because it would constantly get down tier to 3.7 and nothing could touch you unless you get side shotted. So you would easily all day every day get 12 kill matches. So Gaijin panicked and bumped it up to 5.3. Just because people didn't know how to counter it, and now it's probably not gonna be doing that well, but we'll see. This is not ideal. This is not ideal at all. Ah! I immediately fucked myself completely. Let's switch to APCR, start moving. Gunner driver and that guy. Let's get cover from the Tiger for a little bit, deal with this guy. Tiger decided he's gonna push up. I hate the R2s. This is basically what you can do with this thing. Just absolutely tank half a team all by your lonesome. Okay, it's time to push that 152 because it's not gonna push itself, you know. Kinda tossed myself into the frying pan on this one. So, is he gonna shoot? I think he's gonna shoot. Can bait him out. Come on, I know you wanna. So as you boys saw in the last match, this tank can take quite some beating if people don't know where to shoot it. It has some pretty hefty armor welded to the front of it, and with the bushes it's even harder to see exactly where you're supposed to be aiming to get it. Weak spots on this thing is the gunner port here, that's where everyone goes for. It's not the best weak spot since there's a lot of overlapping armor over there, and you usually don't want to mess with overlapping armor in War Thunder. If I'm facing one, I usually go for this cupola right here. If you shoot that, you kill the commander and gunner. You shoot it again, you kill the tank after they've reloaded back into their positions. And obviously, if you get a side shot, you aim for between the track wheels. If you get a side shot like this, shooting into here, just below the armor and at the front of the track would also very often lead to a penetration and a one-shot kill. We are in a maximum down tier this match, so unless I do something stupid, we should be... Psych! And after that clusterfuck of a match, last match, we are in a full up tier on Advance to the Rhine. And we're not looking too hot here. All things considered, uh, there's not a lot of long range where we can use our armor and angle and shit, so hopefully we don't get pinned down and killed quickly. Although I doubt we can beat the record from last match. We touched up on the armor briefly, and by now you pretty much know how it looks and how it plays. The gun is what we haven't touched up on. Gun, in my opinion, is quite amazing. Even in a full up tier, if you know when to switch to APCR and when to keep the APC-BC, I think it's APC-BC. Yeah, as long as you know when to switch arounds and what to hit with which one, you should be able to pen pretty much everything, including tigers, as you can now see. Obviously, you're not gonna shoot a tiger with APC-BC because you're not gonna pen it. So for them, you use the APCR, and that's what makes this gun so fun for me, especially in these higher tiers. Is it's not complete brain dead playing where you just use one shell, which is by far the best one, and then all the others are just worthless. You have to think a little bit, and see, that's the weak spot I was telling you about last game. I angled way too much, and the show went right in. That's something you should be avoiding. I'll pop a backup and continue playing, since this map is interesting to showcase, especially in a full up tier. We might get some good plays. As I was saying, I like the gun for the fact that you don't have to stick to just one shell and shoot everyone. You really gotta think and switch between shells, use all the different types. And that's why I have 40 of the APC-BC and 40 of the APCR shots. You'd be surprised how fast this thing goes through ammo with an aced crew and maxed reloading. It has a reload time of yeah, what was it? 5 seconds, which is pretty darn fast, all things considered. You can fling some lead downrange pretty good. But enough about the thing. Let's try playing it a little bit and not sucking so bad at showcasing what an absolute beast it is. Which for me means going into ultimate sweaty tryhard mode and shutting the fuck up, apparently. But yeah, absolutely love the tank. I have a shit ton of matches in it back when it was 4-7. Now I don't play it as often. I don't play America that often, to be honest, but the thing still dunks. Even in a full up tier, you're not completely useless, and it does work. And it's still fun. Maneuverability, well, you know, it's basically a chunky Sherman, but not too chunky. You still get up to 35. And, okay, there's a co-assist. Still get up to 35, which is a bit slower than other Shermans. But that's due to the fact that the tank has a shorter gear drive ratio, more horsepower, and I undershot here because low velocity, but nice follow-up shot. We are doing good, top of the team. Hi, how are you? Bet he wasn't expecting that. Let's keep cutting through here. The Jumbo, as every other 75 Sherman, comes with a short-stop stabilizer. I'm not dead. How? And the short-stop stabilizer, I'm dead now. Yeah, I should have went for the battle. I got cocky. The short-stop stabilizer means that you can shoot up to 15 kilometers of speed without bouncing. But I'll bring you guys to the next match and we'll talk about the history of the Jumbo and about the Cobra King in particular, because I think it's pretty interesting. So, leading into the story of the M4A3E2, or as it was called after the war, the Jumbo, which I will also be calling it for ease. Uh, it all started, for the Jumbo at least, in 1944. In early March, the US Army decided that they're gonna be needing a beefier tank for the European theater. And since the T-26 was still in early production and it would need a lot of time, the Jumbo was thought of as basically a holdover, just something in between to have something to throw at the Germans that wouldn't tear like a paper bag. And the US ordered 254 of these jumbo modifications of the tank, which they were in such a rush to produce them that they told the Fisher Corporation in Detroit to build them with no for testing from the side of the US Army, and that is why the E stayed at the end of the name of the Jumbos, because they were experimental. So Fisher would have gotten his money even if he didn't produce quality tanks, because the US Army didn't test them at all. They just needed them quick and they needed them now. They ordered them at the end of March and they had them all done by August of 1944. So production just took a couple of months, and they were ready. Uh, the changes done over a standard Sherman at the time were, uh, they added extra 38 millimeters of armor platings to the front and the side of the hull. They also removed any lights and sirens from the front, so they wouldn't get in the way of the armor platings. Um, they gave it a thicker final drive assembly case, which is at the front here under these bushes, which also weighed uh, almost a ton and a half more than the standard assembly case. On top of that, they designed a new. Basically, they took the T-23 turret, which was used for the 76 millimeter jumbo variants, and they just made it thicker all around. The jumbo turret is 152 millimeters all around, except for under the bulge here, where my aiming reticle is, where it's only, and I put only in quotation marks, around 65 millimeters of armor. The entire new turret weighed around 9 tons, which was around 2 tons heavier than the T-23 turret it was based off of. So you got extra mass off of that as well. Um, to cope with the extra mass and so the tank wouldn't get stuck, they added extended end connectors to the tracks. That's why you see that the thread of the track is not the only thing on the track. Basically, the track is thicker, and uh, that made it harder for the tank to bog down in mud and things like that. Uh, on top of that, they didn't really do much to help the tank. Suspension was left the same. That's why it was prone to breakdowns if you push the tank too hard off-road. Um, Also, the engine was left the same. The only thing they changed was they made a longer final drive ratio, which added extra torque from the engine but lowered the top speed to 35 kilometers per hour, which wasn't that much slower than a normal Sherman. And usually the Shermans didn't all travel at top speed, so that wasn't a big issue, in my opinion. Um, and to add to the problem of the overweight, uh, there were field modifications done to the Jimbo Shermans. The crews would like to add sandbags or even concrete to the front plate, making it even heavier and thicker, and seriously damaging the front bogies if the tank was pushed too hard. But apart from that, it was still a reliable Sherman. It didn't have uh, anything breaking down more than a standard Sherman if you didn't push it too hard and watched it off-road, didn't go too quickly off-road and things like that. Also, that's pretty much it on the modifications done, and that's why it only took them a couple of months to get them ready for shipment to Europe. 150 of these were shipped in Europe, and arguably the most famous one is this one that we have right here, the Cobra King. Uh, the Cobra King was the first tank to enter Bastogne, which was a vital crossroad in Belgium uh, during the Battle of the Bulge. Ooh, woo. So, someone shooting me. Ah, buckshot. Ah, so yeet and a half. Okay. So, uh, the Cobra King, this tank that we have here, was part of the 37th Tank Battalion of the 4th Armored Division. And yes, I am reading off of a script I made earlier because I can't remember all the names. And it was designated as the company commander vehicle on the 24th of October of 1944. Which meant that it was a lead vehicle and the commander of the task force was riding around in it. Uh, Very little is known actually about its operations prior to the Battle of Bastogne. Uh, what is known is that on the 7th of November, uh, it got hit in the final drive assembly here at the front, and you can also see pictures online On the top right plate, there were some permanent battle scars from that hit. Even after it was repaired, there's like some scratches on the plate. Um, the tank was taken out on the 7th of November, but it was salvaged later and repaired. Uh, so, about the Battle of Bastogne. Bastogne was held by the 101st Airborne Division, and they were surrounded by Germans. So this tank, along with others, was sent in to relieve those troops in Bastogne and keep the crossroads, which were vital for the operation. Um, on uh, and on the December 26th of 1944, they did just that. They managed to push through to the town and relieve the troops there. After that, in early 1945, this tank, as you see it in its current configuration, had a slight upgrade, and the coaxial machine gun was switched out to a 50 cal instead of a 30 cal, which you have here, and also the 75 millimeter gun got switched out with a 76, which was great if you're fighting tanks or I don't know. If you want something harder hitting, it wasn't that good for troop support because the 75 had a better HE shell, but if you're gonna be in the front of the column, you want something more punchy, and the other Shermans can deal with lighter stuff. So I get why they switched it out. The switching out of the 75 with a 76 was a field modification. It took around 75 hours to do, and it wasn't really that hard, considering the gun mount in the turret was designed for a 76 millimeter gun, since the entire turret was cast from a turret for a 76 Sherman. What was the time consuming thing was removing the turret itself, so you can switch out the 75 millimeter uh, shell racks for 76 millimeter ones, so you can store your ammo in the tank. After those modifications were done, uh, again, not much is known about the tank, but what was managed to be pieced together is that it most likely took part in the Operation Hammelburg, which was a mission to liberate American POWs from POW camp. Uh, the operation took place from the 26th till the 28th of March in 1945, and it was a failure. They managed to reach the camp, free the POWs, but on their way back, they got encircled by Germans because the POW camp was deep in enemy territory. All the vehicles were destroyed or captured, and this Cobra King with this 76, of course, uh, got hit in the third wheel on the left, so here in the middle, by most likely by a Panzerfaust, and it was disabled and captured. Later on, it was also uh, set on fire by the retreating Germans as they were leaving the camp, since they didn't want to leave it in the hands of the Americans to be recaptured. And after that, it just sat around for a whole bunch of time until it was saved in around 1950. At that time, its true past and true name weren't known, and yeah, it was just shown around as a museum tank around Germany uh, for quite some time until it was realized that it is indeed the Cobra King and it does have quite a deep history. So the tank was then around the 2000s moved back to the US and restored. And now you can see it at Fort Benning after the restoration, where they switched it back to its original 75 millimeter gun, but they left the ammo racks for the 76 millimeter shells inside, and also left the battle damage inside from it taking the hit and then later on trying to be set on fire. And that's what it is now at Fort Benning, so you can check it out there if you're ever in the area, as they say. I hope this video was interesting to you. I hope you didn't cringe too hard at me trying to speak and follow along with my thoughts and play the game at the same time. I know I'm not great at multitasking, but I do hope to improve. And I hope you got a little bit of enjoyment out of it. Now, I'll be leaving you. I'll put in some clips, some short stuff that happened most likely during the making of this video with the Jimbo. So if you want, you can stick around and see some more footage. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya. Okay, there's another Ost one over there. Let's not get too cocky. Get the side shot. Okay. Where are my shots disappearing to? Oh, this just goes to show the amount of survivability this thing has. We were getting blasted in the side and nobody died. Literally nobody died.